Some problems are easier to solve if we use proportional thinking. So let's think about what I mean by that. You actually use this pretty much every day. So let's say that you go to the store and 1 dozen eggs costs you $2.50. But you don't want a dozen eggs. Let's say you want 2 dozen eggs. So you need to figure out how much am I going to pay for 2 dozen eggs. And you do that in your head very easily. You know that this is going to be $5. So what did you just do in your head that got you there? So the way that we think about this is that if 1 dozen eggs equals $2.50, we can say that 1 dozen is equivalent to $2.50. And then the proportion is, the trick is that 2 dozen eggs is just in proportion to the 1 dozen egg. So if I say, if 1 dozen eggs, so if 1 dozen eggs costs $250, then 2 dozen eggs costs how much? And so now I've set up a problem where I just need to solve for x. So if I cross multiply, x times 1 dozen is equal to 2 dozen times $2.50. And then I divide both sides by 1 dozen. And we can see that the units of a dozen cancel out. And then we just have 2 times $2.50, and 2 times $2.50 is $5. So you did that in your head and you didn't think about what you were doing. But if you think logically about what you're doing, you're setting up a proportion. And some problems are easier to solve when we think about them in this way. Let's try this example using proportional thinking. A recipe calls for dissolving 45 grams of sugar in 1 cup of water. If I want to make 4.5 cups, how much sugar should I weigh out? So in this case, we know that 45 grams of sugar is in 1 cup of water. So if 45 grams is to 1 cup, then how many grams is to 4.5 cups? And so again, I've set up this proportion and now I do some cross multiplication. So I have 45 grams times 4.5 cups equals x grams times 1 cup. And so what I'm going to do is solve for x. So I divide both sides by 1 cup. And when I do that, I can divide out the 1 cup on this side, leaving x grams. And so now I just have to do the multiplication and divide by 1 over on this side to get my answer. So 45 times 4.5 divided by 1 is equal to 202.5, and let's look at our units here. Cups goes out with cups, and so this is grams. So x grams is 202.5 grams, so what I need to use is 202.5 grams of sugar.